everyone to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa and I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry. So come feel free to follow me there. Welcome to my home today. It's a lovely day, the very beginning of June. And welcome to my home. As I had mentioned last time, this actually is our home now. So this is a very old house built in 1750. In Marblehead, Massachusetts, and so it's a little seaside town or a harborside town just north of Boston. And I am very happy to have you here today. We're going to do a couple things. I have some finished objects, some works in progress. I know I say this every time. I have so many works in progress. We're going to do a giveaway that we had set up the last time, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of upcoming projects, and then some chatter at the end. So let's get started. The giveaway. Let's do that first today. So if you remember, on the last episode, I was actually gifted 2 different pattern books to give away, so I'm going to give them both away today. The first one is the Pearl Kitty Sock Club, and I'm going to show you, let's see, I'm going to show you a picture of it. This is it here. So this is a 4-month sock club, and 2 of them have already been released, and we've got 2 more to go. And this is by Pearl Kitty, who's Mary Lucas. And Mary, I have knit her patterns before, her sock patterns before, and she's great. And these patterns are really, really nice. So we had, I think we had 40 entries in this one. So I did the random number generator, and it came up with number 38, who is, I'll tell you what that is. It is, I'm not sure how to say this, Cgiek, C-G-I-E-C-K, I'll put it up here. And her, I just basically asked you what you liked about sock knitting, what was special about sock knitting to you. And she said, I like sock knitting for many reasons, especially because I can try new textured designs on a relatively small project. I can determine if I like the look well enough to use again on something else. And of course, I am able to buy 1 skein of that special yarn and make something useful and beautiful without investing in 10 to 15 skeins. So I agree. So that's great. So I will let Mary know, and she will gift you that sock club. And then the second one we did, which I really love as well, it is the Tickled Pink. Tickled Pink, 2 designers, 4 indie dyers, 8 pink-tastic patterns, and this is by Cece and Dami Allman of the Geeky Girls Knits podcast, and this is it here. And this is a book that has 8, as I said, 8 patterns, and they're all fantastic. I did a review on this ebook on the last podcast that I did, and I really just love all of these. Cece's been designing for a long time. She's done lots and lots of different sock patterns, which I really like. I've knit several of them, and Dami is kind of coming into her own as well as a designer. So I already have a couple of the patterns picked out to get started on when I finish some of the whips that I have going right now. So I'm really excited about this. I really like this. And let's see, we had 27 entries for this, and the random number generator chose number 18, and number 18 is J Chant, and that is Julie. So Julie, you are the lucky winner for that. And basically what I had asked on this one is to just tell me what pattern in the book you might be interested in. And Julie said all of the sock patterns are intriguing, and that Sea and Sky Wrap is gorgeous. The Sea and Sky Wrap I have on my list to do. I actually do think that that is a really gorgeous pattern, and I have some beautiful yarn all lined up for that as well. So congratulations to the winners. I will let Cece and Dami know, Julie, and they will gift this pattern book to you. So thanks to everybody for entering, and we'll do this again sometime. Now let's move on to some finished objects. I have 2 this time to show you. Also, I should tell you that, number 1, I'm up in our bedroom, and the cat has now come in here. She may be settled somewhere over on the other side of the bed, but if you hear a little tinkling noise, it's because of her bell. So that's what that is. I did notice her kind of sneak in because the door is open. The second thing is it's very humid today. It's not that hot. I think it's probably in the mid-70s, but boy, the dew point is way up there. So if you see me glistening somewhat, that is why. But I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. This is perfect weather. And you know, tomorrow it's going to be back down to 56 degrees. It's going to be a little bit chilly out there as well again tomorrow. But anyway, so finished objects. I do have a couple of them. So my first finished object is my latest pair of socks. I do a pretty long commute into Boston every day, wearing my Boston Red Sox shirt. This is Andrew Benintendi, awesome player. I got this for Christmas, and I thought this was a good day to pull it out, because I wasn't going to be wearing any of the hand knits today. But so I have quite a long commute into Boston every day, and part of it's on the bus, so I can actually do quite a bit of knitting on the bus. And usually I like to take a pair of socks because they are very portable, and it's easy just to kind of pull them out and do them. Yeah, and so it's a great way of getting lots of socks done. Not that I don't have plenty, but you know, girl can never have too many socks, right? And knit socks anyway. So this is the Added Elegance pattern by Mary Lucas from the Pearl Kitty. And let me show it this way. So this is just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It's a really, really simple pattern, and it has a lovely cable going up the side of the sock. The socks mirror each other, so the second one has the cable on the other side of it. So beautiful, beautiful pattern. You can see it's very, very lovely. It's an easy cable pattern to do. I really had no problem with this. I usually do cables without a cable needle. If you haven't tried it, you need to try it. It's an awesome technique. I think I've said this before, but I took a class years and years ago, a knitting class, and the teacher showed us how to do it, and it was like the heavens opened up. I'm like, this is a miracle. It's really not difficult, because when you're, especially when you're using kind of toothy yarn, I think it's a little more difficult if you're using kind of a slippery, silky yarn. But if you're using kind of a toothy wool, it's really easy to do. I'm not even going to try to attempt to explain how to do it, because there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. But if you haven't, just do a little swatch and test it. And it's like, you'll free yourself from that cable needle forever. It's an amazing thing. And it's just one of those, you're like, every time you do it, you're like, I can't believe this actually works. And it does. So I just am, you know, going ahead and doing this without a cable needle, and I love it. This is 6 and 7 fiber yarn, and it is just super, super gorgeous. I'm really happy. This was a single skein that I bought from her, and I'm just really, really happy with it. I love it. I will definitely be getting some more of this yarn. So one more pair of socks done, and of course I have started another pair. I actually think I think that's the one thing I didn't bring up today, but that's okay. I can show it next time. So I'm really happy with these socks. The second thing that I completed is the Slipway pattern by Meg Gadsby, and I actually had started this in Florida when we were on vacation a couple of weeks ago. And this is a lovely pattern as well. So it's just basically a wrap. This is not blocked yet, but it is all done. And it really is just sections of stockinette and then garter stitch. And it starts out at one end, tiny point, and then it ends up at the other end. So it's just a very long triangle, but it's really lovely. This will be really nice for, you know, for a fall wrap, and then a spring, something just to kind of wrap around your neck, or to keep in the office in case it is too cold, which my office often is. But this was very lovely. This will block out even more than it is right now. It looks kind of scrunched up, but it will block out. I just have not haven't gotten over to my mother-in-law's to do that on the clothesline, which I will do. But I'm very, very pleased with this. I love the yarn. This is this yarn is BZB fibers, and it's just really super, super, super gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to being able to wear this. Not today, but looking forward to that. Yeah, and the cat is actually wandering around looking for a window to get up into. She hasn't decided, so you probably will hear that little jingle jangle. My third project is a fun one, and I just picked this up, and I knit it in between the last podcast and this. I don't think I had even started it, so that is really it's really fun. A really good friend of Sophia's, high school friend of Sophia's, we found out that she's pregnant, and she actually, her due date is actually Sophia's birthday. So Sophia has informed Amelia that, of course, if the child is born on her birthday, she must be named after her. We don't even know if it's going to be a girl yet or not, but I'm not quite sure that Amelia and her husband have agreed to that, but I just think that's really cute. And Amelia's a great kid, and yeah, we're just tickled that she's actually she's pregnant and going to become a mom. And so what I wanted to do is to make a little baby jacket for the upcoming birth. And so I have not made a baby surprise by Elizabeth Zimmerman in a long time. And if you haven't ever seen this pattern, you should go take a look at it. It's really, really fun. Of course, Elizabeth Zimmerman is the queen of knitting. Really got a lot of things going in this country back in the late 60s and 70s. She's just fantastic. Her daughter, Meg Swanson, is just kind of continuing on, and Elizabeth Zimmerman was a big fan of garter stitch. She really likes it. She could just do amazing things with garter stitch, and her patterns are just really classic and great. And this is a super classic pattern, and I love it because you really don't know. It's a baby surprise. It's called surprise because if you get the pattern and knit it, you just have to kind of go with it, because there's no way that it looks like it's going to turn into what it will. So when you finish it, this is what it looks like. It's the strangest shape. I actually used Fine Fish yarns here that was gifted to me by Kate, Hawthorne Cottage Creations. And then this is West Yorkshire Spinners, some DK, I forget what it is, but it's West Yorkshire Spinners, so it's really just really a great yarn that I purchased. I didn't think I would have enough of the Fine Fish, so that's why I added in the stripes. I just kind of did this randomly because, you know, it's just for a baby, but it's really cute. So this is what it looks like. Now, when I hold it up again, you will see the magic that happens. Just kind of put it together with the armholes, and then this is what happens. It's absolutely amazing. It's just so cute. And you got little buttonholes on either side, whichever side you want to do. You stick those on, and I haven't woven the ends in yet because I need to sew it together. But I didn't want to do that yet until I had actually shown you the craziness of this. And I have to find some cute little buttons, but I have obviously plenty of time. This is a really, really fast knit if you have a pending baby coming, or maybe a grandchild. Great knit. It's a classic, and yeah, it's really special. I probably should have knit it in some type of superwash, but that's okay. You know, that's one of those special things that she'll have. And like, I've knit these before, and they're just crazy. So here it is here, and here it is here. So again, the Baby Surprise by Elizabeth Zimmerman. It's a really cool pattern, easy to do, easy to follow. You just gotta trust. You just gotta do what it says as you're reading the pattern. But super fun. Yeah, and I think that's yeah, that's it for finished objects. It's only been a couple of weeks, but I have gotten some things done. So all right, let's move on to some works in progress. Let's see. I only have a couple of them to show you, I think, today. This one is my most favorite one. I'm so excited about this. This is the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry, and this is knit with yarn that I so fantastically won from Trey Liz Yarns, and it is just so beautiful. I know I've mentioned before, I really did not get on the So Faded bandwagon when it first came out. I didn't really have enough yarns to do anything, and it just didn't appeal to me too much. but once I won this yarn from Lee's, and it's designed for the So Faded sweater, I was like, well, I have to knit it. And I am so, so happy. I just love this. I love how you fade. I love the colors. They're just so different. And actually, I really like this kit that she put together for this. I think there were 4 or 5 different choices, and this is the one I chose, and I'm really super happy. I just love these colors, and I think this is really my favorite here. Although this blue speckled is really lovely as well. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I actually finished one sleeve. So this one you can do short sleeves, you can do 3/4 length sleeves, you can do them all the way down to your wrist, and I decided to do the 3/4 length. The yarn is very, very light. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful summer sweater to throw on. This kind of thing is way, way outside my comfort zone. It's not, definitely, you know, if I saw something like this in a store, I would steer far away from it, but I think it's going to be great, and I'm definitely going to wear it. It's so light, it's so comfortable. Obviously hasn't been blocked yet because I'm onto the second sleeve here, but it's really wonderful. I've already tried it on because I wanted to check how far down I wanted the sleeves to go, and it worked perfectly. And it's really just going to drape beautifully, and I anticipate getting lots of compliments when I actually do wear it. It's going very, very quickly. I was surprised, you know, like, oh, once you get onto the sleeves sometimes, but it's really, really nice. And I just wanted to actually point out something. I really have no idea what this technique is called, but I used it quite a bit. Now, you know that most of the time, I always knit on circular needles. I hardly ever knit on straight needles. I'm not a big fan of double points, and that's just a personal preference. That's just me. And so normally, a lot of times I would do most of the time I do the magic loop method, which again, it works terrifically great. So magic loop, basically, if you're doing it in a circle like this, like what I would do on socks, you have the large loop on the side. And so basically you're just knitting across, flipping it over, and then knitting back and knitting around in a circle. Sometimes that can create a ladder in your work if you're not careful about that. It really doesn't happen so much with this yarn because this yarn is I think there's some silk in it. It's really kind of slippery, so the stitches don't really stay apart. They really just fall back together. That's really not an issue. But I have been doing this other technique that I've used, and I will use that until I get down to a little closer. It just seems to work well for me. And basically what that is that I take one side out. So you're basically going to create one large loop instead of having the yarn come out. So basically, it's kind of already in a circle there. So it's as if I had a very small circular, and then I will just go ahead and knit, knit some stitches here. So I would just do whatever. I'm not gonna knit them right now, but just knit a bunch of stitches, and then just pull it through, and let that big loop happen again, and just keep on going. So you're always basically have a small loop, as if you had small circular needles, and then you've just got this big loop hanging outside here, and that works really well. Now, when it gets down to be too small for the length of the actual needle tip that I'm using, then I'll switch back over to magic loop. But sometimes, I do that technique if I'm knitting, a hat in the round. It just kind of makes it easier for me. You can get quite a few stitches before you need to switch it over and pull out that loop. But it's just another interesting technique to try. So that's what I've been doing on here, and I just thought I'd show you. It's just similar to magic loop, but just a little bit different. But again, I'm just loving this. So all I have to do, I have to finish the second sleeve on it, of course, and then I have to put the ribbing around the neck, and that will be done. I'm sure it will be done. I'll probably be wearing it in the next podcast, because it will be done, and it is just really, 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 really pretty. Just look at those colors again. Oh, I just love them. They're so beautiful. Absolutely love this particular sweater. So that is that one, and I really have been working on that pretty monogamously, actually. Once you get going on it, it's just, you get to that, I said this before, you get to that tipping point, you're like, all right, I'm just going to work on this because it's almost done. I'm ready to go with that. the next project is going to be a shawl, and it is called The Land of the Midnight Sun, and it is by my friend Beezy Mama. And it's really just a very, very beautiful, beautiful shawl. And it starts out small and then it just gets bigger. It's a very, very easy repeat, and it just basically is a triangle that's going to get bigger and bigger until you bind off at the end. But it's really pretty. You can use some little, just the accent colors in here, and this is just beautiful. Now I am actually making this out of, I'm making it out of Plutalopi. So this is here. So this is the package that it comes from. So this is Lopi yarn from Iceland, and it is unspun. So this is unspun Lopi yarn, and it's really interesting to knit with. I have never knit with this before, so I thought I would try it. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I actually purchased it because I wanted to make the Pentland Firth shawl by Beardy Chill. And I had actually won this pattern, and it is a beautiful, beautiful shawl pattern. It starts out with 2 wings, and it comes together in the middle, and it's really, really gorgeous. So I actually thought, well, I'm going to try this because Plutalopi oftentimes is very good for shawls. So I thought maybe I'll do it. So that's actually why I purchased the yarn. And I started to work on the shawl. I started it actually in Florida when we were on our trip. And I have worked on it a little bit. And finally, last week, I decided to not do it, not to continue it on. And the reason is because of the texture of the Plutalopi. So you can see, it literally is unspun. So there's no twist to this at all. If you pull it, it will come apart. So it doesn't take much to get used to using it, and if it does come apart, you just kind of splice it together again. It's really not an issue. You don't want to pull too hard. So if you're someone who's a very tight knitter, you got to loosen up a lot to use the Plutalopi. It may be good to, if you get some of this, to try a little swatch to get a feel for it before you actually start your project. So this is, which is the right side? This is the correct side. So this is what I started. Is this the right side, or is it? No, I think this is. So this is what I started, and this is really a lovely shawl. Like I said, it starts way down here, tiny corner, and it gets up to the middle, and then it comes back down again. And it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. So 2 things with this. One thing is that it is a lace pattern, and it is lace on both sides. So all rows are lace rows. So you go from, you have a chart. You have to want to read a chart, so you have a chart and you go one way. Although he has it written instructions as well. But on the chart, you work from the right to the left on the front side, and then from the left to the right on the wrong side. Now that's something that took me quite some time to figure out many, many years ago. I was working on a sweater, I remember, a sweater pattern, and it was not right, and I could not understand why it was not right. I kept ripping it out and starting it again, ripping it out and starting it again. And finally it clicked. I was reading somewhere in another instruction book, and it was like, if you have a chart that doesn't tell you what to do on this, that you have a chart that follows each row, every other row is read from the left to the right, and then the next one is the right to the left. Many, many charts are just they're lace, and they're just lace on that one side. So they'll list the rows as 1, 3, 5, 7. So you won't even have a 2. It will tell you all even rows just purl, or all even rows just knit, so that you don't have to do anything. This is not one of those charts. This chart are doing things every single row, so you have to go from the right and back again, which is perfectly fine. But it's just more of an advanced chart reading for someone. It's really, really beautiful. However, there are lots of yarn overs and lots of knit twos together. There are some purl two togethers, I think, through the back loop, which again are not, they're not difficult to do, but in this yarn, it was difficult to do. I was losing yarn overs I would come to the end of the row, start the next one, and I would not have the right stitch count. And it was simply because, as you can see, how fuzzy this is. Fuzzy, fuzzy, fuzzy. This is, and it's beautiful, but it was just too fuzzy for this pattern, and I was losing it and just getting too frustrated. So the pattern really needs just some really beautiful DK worsted weight yarn. So something like this. So you could see where this will not do this. So even this, if you continue, I mean, I could have continued with this, and as it, you know, if it was blocked out, it would still be, it would be really, really gorgeous. But it just wasn't doing it for me, and I knew that I would just get more frustrated and put it away. So I'm going to save that pattern for, I may actually even use this yarn for it. I think I'll probably maybe do that over this this coming winter, but it really just needs a yarn that's going to, I can actually see the lace pattern as it's going. I can see where the yarn overs are, and that way I won't get messed up. But it's just interesting how you really need to sometimes, you know, you got to throw in the towel and say, this was not the right choice for me to make, and I need to choose something else. And so you just get to that point where, you know, there's no reason to continue to slog on. It's just knitting. There's really no reason to slog on if you think you're not enjoying the project. You know, you're like, you just didn't pick the right yarn for the project. It's absolutely no reason. The yarn that you have will be perfect as something else. I actually had started the Land of the Midnight Sun with the fine fish yarn that I used on the baby surprise jacket, and I actually stopped that because I just thought that the fine fish yarn really, it was just too many pastel-y colors, perfect for a baby, for a baby jacket, but not so much for me for like a lovely wrap or shawl. So I actually stopped that, and that's why I ended up using it for the other. And then when I thought about it, because I really wanted to make this, I was like, you know, maybe I'll try the Plutalopi with this. And I think this is going to be the perfect choice. This is perfect for Plutalopi because it's just knitting and purling. So, you know, there are yarn overs, but those are with the, really with the contrast yarn. And I just think the gray is just going to be this lovely, lovely background. This is yarn left over from my Bustavini, so this is from Carol Foster Sheep Farm as well. And it's just, I think this is the better choice for this yarn. And as you can see, Plutalopi, literally, as I said, I'm just going to break it here because you can see, you can pull it, and it's just like, it's like air. So really, but once you knit it, unbelievably strong. So like you can pull this as much as you want, and you're not, nothing, you know, nothing's going to happen to that as well. It is really, it's not as scratchy as I thought it would be. This is probably not going to be something I would put on my neck. I'd probably have it more around my shoulders. But I assume that when I block this and wash it, it's even going to get softer. It really, it's a little bit scratchy, but not bad. It doesn't feel bad. Certainly on my hands. So, but again, this I'm anticipating kind of putting this around my neck, around a turtleneck, so that really won't be a problem. But this is the better choice for this yarn. And I know a lot of people will make sweaters from Plutalopi. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I think it's really super, super interesting. Yeah, so those are my two works in progress. Then I have another project that I'm going to start when I finish the So Faded. And that, I can't remember if I said this the last time. I might not have. I'm going to show you. Yes, I'm going to show you the picture of this. Where'd it go? Here it is. Oh, it fell on the floor. So I might have mentioned this, but at Easter, we had Easter dinner at my mother-in-law's house, and we had purchased her a beautiful, just a beautiful candle from a little shop downtown in Marblehead, and it's kind of like a CD shop. And they had this beautiful, lovely, lovely, beautiful turquoise tissue paper that they wrapped it in. And she gave it to me. Sophia was sitting next to her, and my mother-in-law said to Sophia, she goes, "I wonder if your mother would ever knit me a sweater in this color. This is beautiful." I'm like, subtle hint there, subtle hint there. So, got to do it. And she's super knit-worthy, so I'm going to do it. So anyway, so I have purchased some Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport in this beautiful color. It's a little, looks a little bright, but it's really just this beautiful pale turquoise blue, which really will suit her very, very well. And I was looking at a couple of patterns. I think I had chosen one, but then I actually saw the Fruity Knitting interview with Katrine Schneider that they did, and I actually remembered that I went to look her up as a designer, and then I was like, wait a minute, I actually favorited one of her designs a while back, and so I think I'm going to actually do this one. I had another one in mind, but I think this one is really going to be very, very pretty. So it's like a yoke pattern, but it's not your typical one. So this is it here. And what's it called? It's called the Beat Sweater. So the main color, obviously, the main color
blue,
will, and those red stripes are going to be white. So I already have picked out some white to do that. So I think that'll be really super, super beautiful for her. And I would anticipate that this is going to be something I would make for next Christmas for her. So that'll be pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. I think she'll be thrilled. She's very, very knit worthy. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the other thing, I'm almost finished with the spinning project that I'm doing now, which I've shown you before. But, so I'm kind of like trying to decide what my next spinning project is going to be. I really need to get back into spinning. I haven't really spun too much, and I have some fiber that I really would like to get through. I just kind of forget that it's there. But I have at the Knit Local retreat. Yes, at the Knit Local, in April when we went to Knit Local, I purchased some Romney from Carol at Foster Sheep Farm. So you can see this. And it's really this really interesting kind of purpley color and the green. Poor Carol was like, I don't really like these together. It looks really better knit up than it is, spun up. But I really kind of like this. I like the combo of these colors. And I have some amazing, let's see, I don't actually know what this is. I got this in a Grant Your Knitting Wish from a friend of mine, and I don't know what it is, but it's definitely some type of wool, whether it's merino. And I have this really great red yellow color, beautiful. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is kind of thing I really wanted to spin it up, but I didn't know. I'm like, well, maybe I'll gift it to someone. It's a little bit bright for me, for my use myself, but I really liked it. It's just the visual experience of spinning it, I thought would be really fantastic. And it's really deep reds and oranges and yellows and just really lovely. But I have 2 braids of this, and then I have 2 bags of the roving from Carol. So I thought I might do a combo spin on that. And there are lots of there are videos out there to show you what that is. But basically what that is splitting up the yarn, and the fiber, and spinning it together to make one interesting yarn. You could take each of those, spin them separately, and then ply them together, and you would get a marled yarn. So you would get those stripes. You'd get some really distinct green and purple, and then you'd get the really distinct yellow and reds and oranges. This way, you take each of those and you put them together and spin them together. And basically, I kind of took out a sample here and to show what it would be. So I'd have two separate. This is the green and the purple, and this is kind of a sample of the orange. And then if you draft them out together, so you put them in a line and draft them out together, and then they looks like this, and then you're going to spin it. So what's going to happen is that you're going to get this really interesting mix of oranges and greens, and it will, in places there might be more green, there might be more orange and red. So you do the whole thing, and then you can, knit a sweater or something. So you'd be kind of making some almost variegated yarn from doing this. So the color changes won't be quite as distinct as maybe they would be if you spun them separately, because you're going to be actually drafting them together. So the fibers are going to really mix up, and they won't be as distinct. And then spin that up, and then I think I probably would have a sweater's worth of that, and I would just make a, maybe like a flax light or something, just a basic sweater that really doesn't have a lot of texture or design or lace in it. It's just your basic, a really interesting pullover. So the color is what's going to make it interesting. So I think I'm going to try that. That's really going to be an interesting mix. And that, I think that kind of sweater is something that I would wear. So, and as you know, this is kind of my year of sweaters. I'm kind of looking forward to this. So that is what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be working on there. I went to Saratoga last weekend, and I met up with Tracy, and we were talking, and I'm like, I'm making this sweater for my mother-in-law. I'm finishing up the So Faded, etc. So I was like, huh. She goes, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to do a Rhinebeck sweater, so to speak, this year. I may just hold off, and if it's warm, like it was last year, I could wear that So Faded and be quite comfortable. So I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. What's everybody else doing for Rhinebeck sweaters? I'm just not sure whether I'm going to do one or not. I could do a Rhinebeck hat. I'm not going to do a colorwork vest again this year. I can wear my NG sweater. I can wear that too, because that was done after Rhinebeck last year. So no, I have some options. Anyway, be that as it may. So I think those are my many works in progress. Yeah. So let's move on to some chat. It's been happening. A couple of things. The first thing I wanted to talk about is a podcast that I wanted to kind of bring to your attention that I have really, really been enjoying. And it is called A Duckling Knits, and it's by Daki, and she is out in the Seattle area, I believe, so in the Pacific Northwest. And she actually grew up in India, and but she's living out there now. She has 2 little girls, I think. She started a podcast at the beginning of the year, and the podcast is her adventure or her year of knitting only with Icelandic wool. So it's called Tog and Thel. I'll put the name of it up here, and it is so interesting because she's only knitting with Icelandic yarn. So she's knitting with the yarn, and then she's doing interviews with farmers in Iceland. She's talking about different art exhibits that they have there. Super interesting. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely person. I'm sure she would just be lovely in real life as well. And we've chatted quite a bit on Instagram, but you should follow her there as well. Just lovely. She does these lovely stories, and she just shows all of the nature and the flowers and her baking that she's doing in her home. Really, really lovely. I really enjoy it. I just love it when a new episode pops up. It's an audio podcast as well. So she actually had a giveaway on her Instagram stories. I believe she really loves to do handcrafts, so not only knitting, but she does sewing, but she does hand sewing. So it's like couture sewing, and it's just amazing. And she was working on this beautiful shawl, and she put it up as a giveaway on Instagram, and I entered, and I was lucky enough to win it, and it is just amazing. And she sent it to me, and it is just beautiful. It's just this very soft jersey knit, this lovely dusky rose color with these beautiful appliqued leaves on them, and literally these are hand sewn. You can see that, and all the stitching is just done by hand, and in the back by hand, and it's very long. It's very, very lovely, and it has the repeat of the leaves on the other side, and then this lovely fringe on the end. So it is just, oh, it's most lovely. I know it's hot today, but I'm going to put it on anyway because it's beautiful. I was so excited to use this. This will just be a something special that I will wear to any special event that I have to go to. It's just so beautiful and soft, and the amount of work that went into this is amazing. You know, I am not a sewer. I did many years worth of counted cross stitch, so I do know, you know, the amount of work that goes into it, but not embroidery. But this is just lovely. The design and the hand knitting, and just I can just feel all the warm and thoughts and love that went into this. You know, from her when she did this, and now I am. You know, I said to her that I will treasure this forever, and I absolutely will. This is most gorgeous, most gorgeous. But if you have a chance and, you know, are interested in the audio podcast Tog and Thel is, I had no idea about this either, but Tog and Thel is actually, and I don't remember which is which, but the Icelandic sheep, they have two layers, and one is kind of a rougher layer, and then there's the softer layer on the fleece, and one is called Tog and one is called Thel, and I don't remember which is which, but yeah, so it's really, I had no idea, and now that she has put that phrase out there, I see it more and more, and I've heard it more and more. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I know what that person is talking about. But yeah, it's called Tog and Thel, and it's just the different parts of the Icelandic fleece that comes out. But I very much enjoy her podcast, and I really highly recommend that you go check her out. It is spring here. It will be summer soon, but we've started to get some really nicer days, and all of the boats are going into the harbor, which is really nice. So been invited to join the Boston Yacht Club, which is we're in the parking lot, as I've said before, we're in the parking lot, so we actually will be joining, we don't have a boat, so we'll just be joining as social members. We really actually know quite a few people who are there, and it's really nice. It's a beautiful building, and they have a really lovely bar area, so, you know, during the year, we can just kind of walk over after work, and you know, have a nice drink and just have to walk home. No driving involved in it, but they have a really nice restaurant there as well. And so we'll, you know, we can do entertaining there. And Mark's parents really like to go there, so we'll take them there. So that will be really fun. I'm sure you'll see more pictures as the year goes by of the yacht club and the inside of the yacht club. So you can see what that's like. I don't really consider us to be kind of yacht club people, but you know, if you live here, especially because we live here, and the people who were our landlords and who we bought the house from are members there as well, and so they've invited us to join. So we actually know quite a few people that are members there, and that will just be it'll be really just really nice to be able to see people here and take advantage of it, because we live right here. So I think that will be kind of fun. We are having, Mark's uncle is coming this week on Tuesday. Actually, he's younger than Mark's dad, so he's probably in his I don't know, maybe he's probably in his 60s. He's not that much older than us. Actually, it was his second marriage, and for Mark's grandmother. So she had John when she was a little bit older. But John actually lives in Montana, and he has 3 daughters, and we've been out there several times, and it's really a super place. They own Moose's Saloon. You've seen me wear the Moose's shirt sometimes, but they own Moose's Saloon in Kalispell. So if you ever go to Kalispell, Montana, stop into Moose's Saloon and say that you know you know somebody who knows John and his wife Wallace. And yeah, so that's really going to be fun. He and his daughter Leah are going to come for a couple of days to visit. They usually come every year. They're probably going to go to the Red Sox, and then they'll kind of hang out with us. And then we have other friends that are going to come the following weekend to visit us from Burlington, which will be really, really nice. I suspect we're going to have lots of people. Now that we own the house, we're going to have people coming here and stopping by quite a bit, which is fun. That's what it's all about. With the house, I'll put some pictures in at the end as well. There is right outside the bay window that looks out over the parking lot towards the Boston Yacht Club. There's a little bit of a garden area there, and we didn't do anything with it last year. We weren't even in the house at this point last year. So we kind of dug that up a little bit, and we actually went to the garden center and purchased some plants. And yeah, we planted those last week, and they're actually doing okay. I really like to get a lot of ground cover. I don't have a lot of that yet, but and then later today we're going to go over to my father-in-law's, my in-law's house, and he has tons of ground cover. So we're going to dig up some of his and bring them over for one of our other the beds on the kind of the, what's called the kind of the front of the house, I guess. So we'll be doing that. As well, and once that gets started, boy, that's like the best stuff, because you don't have to weed it, you don't have to do anything to it if you can get it growing enough. So I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to that. But I haven't had any place to plant anything in a while. Not that I'm a big planter or anything, but it was kind of fun to figure out what you wanted to get. And Mark's great because he'll do all the watering. I'll do the weeding, and he'll take care of the watering during the day. And then we also have this trellis. I don't know if you remember on the picture of the front of the other side of the house, there's like a big white trellis on there, and there was never anything there. Last year, there was never anything on it. I think we put our Christmas wreath on it, which was great. But so this year, I potted, or from seeds, I started some morning glories, and I got a pot full of them, and they popped up, and now just yesterday, I don't think they were there yesterday morning, but when I got home in the afternoon, those plants are crazy. But they've got now the tendrils that go up and want to curl around things popped out yesterday. So I think later on this afternoon, I'm going to go out and actually plant those, and I'd like to get those to go up around the trellis and see if that works. That's a kind of an experiment to see if it works from seed like that. I think it will if I can just get them to get high enough and to twirl around it. They'll keep going from there, so that'll be kind of fun. I started this week. I'm sure lots of people have seen this book and have read it. Craft, maybe, is that it? Craft. It's a really interesting book. It's by Alexander Langlands, and he actually is he's a British archaeologist and medieval historian. How about that? He's a regular presenter for the BBC and teaches medieval history at Swansea University, and he currently resides in Swansea, Wales. So this is really, it's called An Inquiry into the Origins and True Meaning of Traditional Crafts. So that's really what he's talking about. I'm not very far into it, but yeah, it's really just it's kind of a delving into what we think of as craft and the meaning of that word, and how craft turns, what's the tipping point? Where does craft turn into kind of manufacturing, or not craft? I'm enjoying it. I'm just taking it slow and enjoying it, and I just think it's a great book to read for anybody who does any kind of handcrafting or anything like that. I mean, just traditional farming. Any of that. I think it's just a really interesting to kind of get you thinking about what it is that you do, why you do it, why you enjoy it, what the history of it is, and how it went, how it changed from being something that you needed to do to something that now that we do for enjoyment. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this and would highly recommend it. I also finished Shogun. I read Shogun for this. I reread Shogun in the whole series way back. James Clavell, way back in the day when they first came out. So that must have been, was that the 70s, early 80s? I don't even remember. But we read them all at that time, and so now it's been long enough. I don't really remember what happened in those. So I picked up, I forget where it was, but I must have picked up Shogun again, just in a paperback form, which is actually great for reading on the T. So I actually finished that this week. It's been a while because I just been plugging through it, and I finished that, and I have. I think Taipei is next, so I have that to kind of delve into. And then I bought the Dan, the new, is it Origins? By the author that did the Da Vinci Code. We bought that for, it's over, I'm just looking over there because it's over there, but it's upside down, so I can't read it. But we bought that book, or I bought that book to read it on vacation, and I ended up reading The Immortalists instead. So I still have that to go, but that's a perfect summer read as well. Yeah, I don't know what are some other good summer reads that can always use some good suggestions. So I think that's about it for this time around. I'm thinking, let me know what you think in the comments or on the Ravelry group. I'm thinking about maybe doing some type of a swap, a little bit of a swap, maybe in July, kind of like midsummer swap. Nothing too big. You know, it could just be something small. I really like those ideas. I know Louise at Caithness Craft is just finishing up her. She has a swap that includes a handwritten letter and not progress keepers, stitch markers. So I've been participating in that, and that actually is going to go out in the mail today to my partner. But something along those lines, maybe something small. What does everybody think? I'm always interested in doing. We haven't done a swap here, so maybe there's something interesting we can do just around where different people live and things. Something along those lines. Maybe some local yarn or fiber and a little information about where you live. Something. Anyway, I'll let that percolate a little bit and let me know what you think, and I'll talk about that the next time. Anyway. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoy the podcast, you can go ahead and subscribe, and you'll be notified when I do a next one. I try to do them every 3 weeks or so, depending upon life as it happens. But thank you for joining me. I really enjoy all the contact that I have with everyone, and I look forward to the next time with you. And remember, it's just knitting. Bye.